So great, Asaf, to meet you. And
thank you, Sam.
Yes, and I have some of your artwork at home, and I just love it. I bought it for myself for Christmas. But I would like to ask you, okay, how did you get to make this art? You know, what and also what are the benefits of having a piece of your artwork in the environment?
Yeah. I was born in Israel, and I knew one of the shapes that I'm creating as a 3D model of the Star of David. Through the years, I was coming across the 3D model through Reiki healing, through all different aspects of healing and protection and lots of spiritual information. I was not really involved back then. I just felt it on a personal level and sometimes used it to my own system and benefits, and started creating the shape, the 3D Star of David, that some people know as the star tetrahedron or the Merkaba. People around the world knew it, and all still obviously knowing it as a symbol of healing and protection and balance and harmony. And when I started back in 2005 to create the shapes here in Australia, more and more people approach me and start sharing more and more information about the subject of sacred geometry, that I was not aware of it on intellectual, on the mind kind of level. I was more connected to it on my spiritual kind of connection to it. And people start to offer me to do a trade, and they said, you give me a piece and you come and do the flower of life meditation with me. And I said, what's the flower of life meditation? And they said, it's all about this shape. It's actually the energetic field of our human body, and we all base on the same ratio that this piece is based on. And all nature and all the universe and all the star system and anything else that we know that live and exist on this planet based on this specific ratio. So all through the years that I felt my connection to the geometry without having my mindset on what's behind it, the two got linked together. So it was almost for me a completion of two systems inside my own body that started to meet one another and almost completing or dancing together. I don't know how to share it in the right English maybe, but I end up doing the Flower of Life meditation back in 2005. And through the process of the meditation, I felt like something opened up in me, and I made my second shape of geometry out of glass. And every time I started to create another shape, it almost opened up another gateway for me to keep getting into the geometry and creating more and more shapes. And the more I created, the more started to come through to my system, and I still have them in my system. But somehow in life, sometimes it's also about the physical time that we need to, and maybe it's also about the energy that when it's ready, it happens, and the time doesn't really exist anymore. But with benefits regarding geometry, through being in lectures about geometry or workshops that relate to the healing aspects of sacred geometry symbols, and through my own experience with people showing my art through the years, in the last 18 years now, I used to have lots of ideas back then regarding that the size doesn't matter or the color doesn't matter, but I've learned through the process from others and from my own experience that in a way everything is matter, because it all have its own energy, and for each one of us the experience can be completely different. So even if I will read 10 books that will tell me about one specific shape, that this is the energy of it, but my personal experience will be very different. So for me, that will be the truth, that we can maybe describe it as a truth. But by looking at geometry and seeing a geometric symbol or a 3D model of a shape, it's almost a reflection of us.
Yeah.
Because it's based on the exact same ratio that we based on ourselves. It actually, the first geometry that that came in the human mind is in the human body is through the female getting into pregnancy and the seed of the male meeting the egg of the female. And he's way more smaller than the egg, but once he's meeting the egg, he's matching the size of the egg and creating another circle. And they call that symbol the Vesica Pisces, the start of creation. And through the Vesica Pisces, there is another circle coming through. And through those 3 circles joining together, we're getting the first geometry, which called the tetrahedron. And there is 5 shapes that called the Platonic Solids, 5 Platonic Solids. Lots of people aware about them and know about them. And John Velo Melchizedek, who written the Flower of Life books, talk a lot about the shapes in his book Flower of Life, page 176 out of memory. But yeah, I really feel that geometry is a very personal experience.
Yeah,
I've seen.
Yeah, have you then noticed that when people see your artwork, that they choose one that really appeals to them personally,
Yeah,
without even knowing the meaning, because that is what's so important.
Yeah, I remember a case of a client that rang me from the back in the days. I used to run the gallery, and I was not in that space. I think I went for lunch or something and had a break. And she was in the gallery, and the lady that was helping at the gallery rang me and she said, "Oh, your friend is here. She's trying to choose a piece." And I told her that this piece is about this subject and this is about, and then she put me through the phone and I said, the only thing I can say about geometry that it's relating to a universe of truth. It's based on something that is that it's so real that sometimes there is a bit of a, because we live, I can't say we don't live in a real life or universe, but I sometimes feel that geometry, I'm not sure how to put it in words, but it's kind of another level of life in a way. And I always used to encourage people. They used to say that I'm not a good helper because I always put it back to them. And if they tell me what it means, I said, you will tell me what it means, or don't even tell me. It's your own personal experience. So I always loved to put it back to the person, that they will feel what's right for them. They will feel which shape they resonate with and which geometry they feel most connected with and which color they feel is right for them or makes them feel in any certain way. And I believe this is the beauty of geometry, because it's bring us back to ourselves, to feel, to think, to see, to everything. It's just nature in a way. This is what it is in a way.
Yeah, because for me, it's actually also, your work is like, it's a combination between color therapy and light therapy.
Yeah.
It both comes through, and the colors, they change, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I had the honor to make a few pieces to the Aura Soma Center in the UK, that it's all about color therapy.
Yeah.
They had a specific color that they wanted us to create. So we obviously did create them magnificent lights with colors. And it's always, for me, it's a bit of a mystery of what it does, and maybe the mind doesn't even have to have the full capacity, the full understanding towards it, and it's more about just us feeling.
Yes.
And maybe it's not even matter what's the information behind it. What's really matter is that it's something that brings us some joy or some happiness, or something that we look at and we have reflection of beauty coming through our eyes and through our system. So it's a reminder that it's just beautiful.
And you're right, and I do think that as well as light as color, they both touch us on another level. And I don't think that we have, well, that I don't think that we understand exactly what is happening, but we all know something is happening. But
Yeah.
it's just beauty.
Yeah.
It's life.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I do have to say, when I look at your artwork, it really makes me happy and very.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And that's what we all want, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah.
I hope.
Yes. Yeah. And it also makes you a little bit reflective, going inwards.
Yeah. So this is where art came to me. In a way of creating my art. It's actually taken me to my own space, to my own place of quiet, to my own place of happiness, to my own place of traveling, to my own place of being. Yeah. It's funny, I used to say back then, and I still say it, that sometimes in life there is so many things that happen and so many aspects that we think, oh, there's so much going on. And I sit in front of all the triangles and I'm thinking, okay, there's so much going on in here. But if I put it all in the right way, it all comes beautifully. So for me, it was almost like a mind and spiritual practice together. And even if my mind through the process of creating art will travel to thoughts that maybe are not on the positive aspect, I'm not sure if it's the right term. So something will happen physically straight away that will bring me back to my art. Like, you just need to be here now, and you just need to focus on what you're doing and just enjoy that process. So it's almost like a daily meditation for me to just be and just remember and just enjoy. Yeah.
Because most of your work, then you decide, okay, what are the color choices, or is most of your work assigned by clients? They say, oh no, I want this kind of color or this shape.
Yeah, so back in the days when I used to I've been running a gallery for almost 15 years, and I will create anything I felt like and have it on display and let people come in and resonate with whatever they resonate with. Or we will have a conversation and they will say, I like this color with this, or these days it's mostly client's choice. Since I left the gallery, I think we've been on, I don't know, 16 or 20 weeks waiting list, people just ordering what they like. Unless we have something that I made and it's available and we say, this is what we have. Lots of meeting with clients around the world that they send images of their space and share about the feeling. And then I'm getting involved, and Jody, of course, bringing our own energy of view towards the space and what I feel. And we collaborate together the decision of what we're going to create for this specific space. Yeah, but more and more people I really like to have, they come with something and we take it from there. Yeah.
And what is the feedback of your clients? How do they say it changed the whole room or the space they are putting it in?
I will share a bit about even the experience that I had through the years with people, and we'll also share about people that have it in their own space these days. When I started in Australia back in 2005, I used to display my work in markets, and I seen experiences in real life happening in front of me in public that it's almost felt like if someone tell me that they've seen a movie and that what happened, I will think like, oh my goodness, this is just unreal. But I've seen so many things, from tears, from fainting, from going through a full, I don't even know how to put it into words, but like almost like a complete, it was one specific case that was the strongest, and it was me in the stall, and a lady just walked straight into the stall and stood in front of a geometry, and it was almost like a half top body was just collapsed down, and she had a full experience for like, I don't know, 20 seconds or 30 seconds, while other people inside the stall, but it was almost just me, her in the geometry in a different space. I'm not sure if it makes any sense. And after the time that she had, she just stood up like that with full tears, saying thank you, and she left. And I think it was 10 minutes later, another lady was hugging her and bringing her back, apparently was her friend or something, and brought her back to face the geometry again. A lot of things that happened, my mind could not understand what was going on, but it wasn't even his part to understand what's going on, because it was way higher than the level of the mind capacity to understand. It was coming from a way deeper levels of life or emotions, or and as we know, it doesn't even have to be my own geometry. Yeah? It can be a flower that we look at and it will bring all these emotions. But I had so many experiences of lots of tears, and it's not necessarily tears of sadness. It was almost like big releases, that people just release something.
Yeah.
And they used to look at me saying like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't even know what happened. And I'm like, you don't have to be sorry, and whatever happened, just let it happen. And then from clients having pieces at their own places, lots of stories about changes of life. How about the feel of the space? How about people that coming to visit them and how they feel in the space? Then again, I wouldn't have the information about what's happening, but I believe that when we introduce beauty on any level, it's changing the space. And if people sit in a space that there is beauty display in it, it brings beauty out of them as well.
Yeah.
And beauty can be everything. Can be tears, can be smiles, can be even anger. Like all different types of emotions came through people dealing with geometry. So far I had a beautiful feedback from clients that really enjoying and loving to have the geometry, if it's light of sculptures, or it can, that this is where I learned myself that I used to think that maybe if it's bigger, it's better, but it's obviously not, because it's just whatever people resonate with, and it can be the smallest one or the biggest one, or blue color or yellow color or whatever. It's just very personal.
No, it's just beautiful. And I think that combination, what you did with the light, the color, and the sacred geometry, I think that is very, very, very powerful. And
thank you. I'm still learning every day. I feel that what I'm creating, because sometimes when you create, it's like me telling you, oh my goodness, you have so many books, but for you, it's like, no, I don't have many books, it's just my books. So sometimes when we create something, when we do something, for us, it's just our basic nature. And we don't really see it from the outside, but when someone comes from the outside and going like, whoa, you know, like this is so beautiful, and you think like, yeah, you know, it's just what I do.
I think you get that when you follow your own purpose in life. We all have a purpose in life, you know, and obviously you follow your purpose and you have the gift to make something very beautiful. So of course it will resonate with people. So it's beautiful. Oh, thank you so much. I thank you so much for your for your contribution to the world with beautiful art. It's really, really fantastic. I really,
thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.